What's up, guys? Welcome or welcome back to the channel. So I know probably at this point you're probably thinking, Paul, you haven't posted in a while. What is going on? To which I would say, calmate, calm yourself, sir. I'm going to tell you all about it. We're going to talk about the last video that I made where I talked about a strategy that I'm going to use to study for my upcoming exams. I'm going to kind of tell you guys how that is going and how I'm approaching it and how difficult it is because I feel like it was a little bit more, I underestimated the longevity of the process itself. So we're going to talk about that. And of course, I updated some stuff. As you can see, I got a new mic to be a little bit more animated, and I got a new standing desk. But of course, so let's go ahead. Well, not us, but I'm going to go ahead and grab some coffee. And when we come back, you and me, we're going to talk all about it. Let's go. That is it. So now I have my coffee. I feel alive. I feel alive. So now we can talk a little bit more. You and I can have a really good conversation, right? Coffee's starting to wake me up a little bit. So let's go ahead and talk about. Okay, so let me take a step back. For those of you guys that haven't seen it already, I posted a video a couple of weeks ago talking about this book that I'm reading, this book that I read. I kind of talk about a new way of studying. It talks about how you can study better, not only to just kind of read through the book and say, I've read this book, or just kind of read through the book and say, like, okay, I've studied for this exam and go in and pass the exam and just cram things and go and pass the exam. The book talks about how you can follow a strategy percent. If you want a detailed explanation of the whole thing itself, or not really detail, but like a really good explanation of the strategy that I'm following, you can check out the video. It talks about how if you follow this strategy or this plan of studying, you're going to be able to better retrieve information. It's not to say that you're going to retain the information for the rest of your life, but it's to say that if you want to recall the information, you'll be able to recall it a little bit easier than trying to just memorize it and then just kind of like, just the old way of studying where you're just trying to memorize things. So I've been following that strategy to study for my upcoming exams. Now, if you ask me, Paul, how is that going? My response to that would be, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. It's going great. But I do think that I underestimated the amount of time it's going to take to follow the study strategy. So let's go ahead and talk about it a little bit. Let's talk about how that is going and how things are going in terms of like getting ready for my exam. So I'm following the strategy right now. To get up early in the morning. And once I get up in the morning, I try to study for about 2 hours for the exam, right? The lowest I normally do is like an hour, 30 minutes. So what I do is I read the book, I take detailed notes, and I do a lot of like highlighting things, like the old way of doing things as well, just kind of highlighting things. But I'm also taking notes. I'm also making a lot of flashcards and things like that. Now, one of the things that I don't do, let's say this morning, for example, when I got up, like I study, right? And I took detailed notes. I took all of the things. I took flashcard. I created flashcard questions. All of the stuff that the books talked about. I did all of that. What I do not try to do is I don't try to kind of like retrieve the information at the same time that I'm studying. So what I do is that I go through that, and then later on in the day, the second thing that the book is talking about, again, I'm not going to go into detail about that. If you do want to see that, make sure you check out this video about the steps that I'm talking about here. So I go back and I try to do, like, at the end of the day, I try to do something a little bit different. I'm studying for my Pen Test Plus as well. So I will do Pen Test Lab. I will be building some stuff in my lab environment, but also I'll be doing stuff that I need to understand better for work. So some of the things that I need, some of the concepts that I need to understand better for work, I'm working on that. I'm doing some other things. What I'm not doing is I'm not trying to study again for the AZ104. So the only time study happens for the main exam, which is my AZ104, is in the morning. This is where I feel like it's a little bit more time consuming than the way that I am used to studying. Because with the way that I'm used to studying, like if I come back the next day, I will just keep going from where I left off. But with this new studying strategy, I don't just keep going from where I left off. I go back and then try to review or try to recall everything I've learned from the previous day. That is it's a little slow. It is great. I love it and I love the strategy so far, but it's a little slow. Because now I'm going back and I'm trying to recall all the information. Because the book talked about giving yourself that kind of like, there's no specific time for you to kind of give yourself before trying to recall the information. But it talks about like giving yourself a reasonable amount of time, maybe like a day. So that's what I try to do, right? I study for the exam in the morning. I give myself like the rest of the day to try to forget it. Study for other things in the evening, and then wake up the next morning and then try to recall information. So I wake up the next morning. I try to answer some of the questions without looking at the book that I wrote the previous day in my flashcard. I try to look at some of my notes and then answer some of the questions that I need to answer to be able to recall information. I try to quiz myself as much as I can to be able to recall information. I try to express myself in terms of the information that I've learned the previous day to be able to try to recall the information. Right? I do that for the 2 hours that I study for that morning. Most of that studying for that morning is focused on recalling information that I studied for the previous day. And then the next day, I will go to the next chapter or the next stuff that I have to read, and then I'll do the recalling the other day for that stuff that I just read. So doing that is great because it is really allowing me to retain information, but it is slow. It is slow because it just allows you to kind of take a step back and realize that I'm not studying really to just say that I read the book. I'm not studying really to just try to memorize things. I'm studying to be able to recall the information and be able to retrieve the information without having to memorize it. It's tough. It's a lot more tedious, but it's great. It's an amazing way of studying. It's a great way of studying. I love it. I enjoy it so far. It's really pushing me to kind of be able to really fully understand the concept, because to explain things, I need to understand it. That's very important as well, because one of the things at work is that you can't just go and then say, oh, this is what I'm doing. As you move higher and higher in IT, you're going to start to realize that you're going to need to be able to express yourself, like really express yourself as to the things that you're doing, as to like what you're trying to accomplish. And being able to do that means that you're able to retain and recall information at will. And this study strategy has been amazing. Even right now at work, when I have to learn a new concept, I use the same thing there. I probably spend the whole day trying to read a specific thing that I'm trying to read the instructions or something else about a specific thing that I'm trying to accomplish, whether it's something I'm trying to put in place or some concept that I'm trying to implement, or some concept or some things that my boss want me to implement. I'll spend the whole day or part of the day or some part of the day, not the whole day, some part of the day just reading and digesting the information. And after digesting the information, I give myself some time, and then I'll come back and try to retrieve that information. And I find that it stick better, and I'm able to express myself better, because English is not my first language. Well, it's my second language. So having to do that is allowing me to be able to better retrieve information and better express myself. I don't want to make this video too long. This video was just to kind of talk about how the studying is going. And it's been busy. It's been very busy. And that's one of the reasons also why I haven't posted. But of course, my desk as well, because I was waiting for that. And of course the mic. And I was waiting for that as well. But I am going to start posting a little bit more frequently. I'm going to start making more videos in the morning. Well, part of it every single morning, and be able to have something by the end of the week. But I just wanted to give a quick update. As always, thank you guys for watching. Thumbs up if you haven't done so already. Subscribe if you want to see some more videos. It's going to be interesting. I'm going to be talking about a lot of stuff, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. And as always, do not forget to stay geeking. I shall see you guys on the next one. Peace.